There are certain rounds that really make me wish we were watching this game played in front of a crowd, and this is one of them. Now, take a quick look at the setups. We notice that there is a null command ready for poise on the side of FaZe Clan, and they're going to use that to hit a site quickly. Now, Under Thieves knows that null command is on the board and very likely going to be used to execute onto a site, so what do? Whichever site gets hit, the sentinel who's playing there, I'm including Viper in the sentinel conversation in this case, will be suppressed, and there's nothing they can really do other than, playing in spawn to avoid that. So instead, 100 Thieves decides to have the Viper play behind the Cypher utility, and the Cypher plays behind the Viper utility, so if the Cypher gets suppressed, it's suppressing utility at the other site, and the Viper can just put up the wall and Cypher can use that to defend the attack. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. So right off the bat, FaZe is going to go ahead and flash out the window, and then they're going to pop null command and charge towards the site. And what's that? Wait a second. Why is there a wall? Why is it still active? Well, it's because Viper is way outside of the range of the null command. So you can see this kind of stops FaZe in their tracks because they were expecting to be able to just kind of charge in. You can see the Hunter's Fury coming in from middle, way out of the range of the null command as well. And even though there are 2 players getting suppressed here on site, the utility gets turned off over here. So now FaZe is kind of stuck, and they're going to have to just kind of bide their time. The null command is basically going to time out, and that's going to give 100 Thieves a much better chance of defending this choke point. And so FaZe is going to slowly kind of try and work a pick here. They're not going to find anything really, and eventually they're going to get a little bit overly aggressive and just try to push through, which is going to get punished. Poised goes ahead and runs in because he's the only one that doesn't really have utility to contribute to the round anymore. And so now FaZe is kind of stuck, and Superman is going to go ahead and drop the pit to try and push in onto the B site. But the neural theft kind of stops that play as well. And so FaZe decides to book it back over to the A site because they know that they've drawn a lot of rotations towards B and they have a better chance of maybe hitting the A site. And they're going to leave Superman here inside his pit to kind of create havoc and maybe find a pickoff, which he does, killing Will. And Will gets a little bit baited here. It's kind of unfortunate because you can see this looks a little bit silly at first where he just kind of walks into the pit and gets killed, but there was actually a recon dart that was thrown and it just was not quite close enough to see Superman. So Will, thinking it's safe, walks into the pit and ends up paying with his life. But what that does is it kind of gives FaZe, okay, a little bit too much confidence. They think maybe the A site is open, and instead Bang is going to find 2 kills as they try to come up towards the A site through caves. Loses a duel there against Dicey, so now Dicey is going to run back and grab the spike. And this is where the concept of mid-rounding becomes such a huge part of the game, because this round is in chaos at this point. There was one plan that was supposed to be executed from FaZe. It fell apart. The secondary plan also kind of fell apart. 100 Thieves thinks they know what's going on. Suddenly they lose a player over at A. The spike is over at A. They don't really know what's going to happen over there. Superman somehow found 2 kills on the B site. What the heck is going on? And you can see that suddenly things have gotten a little bit more complex for 100 Thieves as well. They have to put the Sova over here to detect if anybody's going to plant on the A site. Meanwhile, FaZe is rotating the spike back towards the B site since they have the Viper's Pit there and they have the Tour de Force. They also know that 100 Thieves probably had to rotate somebody towards the A site because that is where the spike was last seen. Time is ticking down, 10 seconds left. Dicey's going to run in and plant the spike inside of the Viper's Pit, which Superman has managed to keep alive, and Austin narrowly misses spamming him down. Now, I really like this decision from Austin. He doesn't go ahead and push into the pit because he's by himself. You can see the Sova is not near the site yet, at least not near enough to trade. And if he just walks in and dies, then it's almost impossible for 100 Thieves to win, and they need this round. Now, I also really like this decision from FaZe because they still have the Tour de Force available. Instead of trying to play inside the pit and maybe getting, flashed by the KO and killed at close range, they decide to fall back and play lineups plus an operator from window to try and defend this post plant. And they're actually going to go ahead and drop the Viper's Pit to allow for Dicey to have a sight line to defend against anybody defusing the spike. So you can see the lineups are starting to come out with the Viper mollies. They're flying in now. The pit goes down and Dicey is there. The spike gets tapped and Asuna peeks off the other side. So another little tiny piece of nuance here from 100 Thieves that really catches Dicey off guard and allows Asuna to get this kill is the spike was planted over here. The tap comes from the Sova, who's over here, and then Austin is going to swing off the other side, and that is going to catch Dicey a little bit off guard and allow him to hit a shot and get the kill. So right there, now things are really looking pretty good for 100 Thieves, and it's just up to Austin to once again defend the diffuser there, and 100 Thieves gets the round.